welcome to or welcome back to the channel. If you guys are new here, my name is Maya and welcome to my booktube channel. As this is my birthday month and this is the last video of my birthday month, I was trying to find some type of bookish video that would be fun to do, and to round off the birthday festivities, I thought it would be an amazing idea to do the cake flavored book tag. Not to be confused with the cake book tag, because the cake flavors are the cake flavors and the cake book tag is all of the ingredients to make the cake. And I don't think I had a few books for those types of prompts. Hopefully within the next year I'll be able to get me some prompts there. But this one I definitely had. So let's get into the cake flavored book tag. Let's go. I do have my handy dandy laptop. We are going to be looking off of the questions off of a video because I am just extra like that. Chocolate Cake, a dark book you absolutely love. Suicide Notes by Michael Thomas Ford. This is surprisingly a YA book. And I say surprisingly because at first, when I read the back of the book, it was definitely on the darker side because we are following a 15-year-old boy who wakes up in a ward, a psychiatric ward. He doesn't think he belongs there. We later come to find out that he had attempted to take his life, and so he was admitted into this space. And as he's going through the days, we are following him along throughout his journal entries, and at first they are shorter and less detailed, but the more that he is interacting with the patients there, the more that he is opening up to himself, even not even to the people around him, but just to himself, and coming to realizations about himself and what it means to be in here, and all of his thoughts about a place like this as they start to shift through his interactions with the other patients. We come to find that, the journal entries that we are reading as the reader, that's our experience with this book, gets longer and more detailed, and we start to see more in the way of his daily life there. But it's a very poignant read that I do believe is good to have. I definitely think that it's so hard to describe this book because I want to say it's a very poignant read, and it's something that I would recommend people read, but not everybody, if that makes sense. This is for a certain demographic for sure. Just be very careful and aware going into it about what this is. We have Vanilla Cake, a light read. For this prompt, I chose The Tea Dragon Society by Katie O'Neill. Not only is it a physically light read, but also it's just very cute, it's very fun. There are some good deep messages in here. Yes, that book for sure, recommend it for everyone. Red Velvet, a book that gave you mixed emotions. For this one, I did Aristotle and Dante Discover the Secrets of the Universe by Benjamin Alir Saenz. Now here's the thing. The problem for me with this book, as I went to go and read it, I thought it was a first time read, okay? But turns out it was a reread, and I remembered that it was a reread because of certain elements that I literally now know are so insignificant and so out of left field. There was even one where I think I might have mixed two different books or something, but that's kind of hard. Maybe I just elaborated on what I remembered or something. We follow Aristotle and Dante, hello, as they are meeting, as they grow up, separate, and then come back together. They meet in the summer at the swimming pool. Aristotle doesn't know how to swim. Dante does. He teaches him, and immediately they become best friends. And then they eventually, throughout the entire book, meet each other's families, go over and see each other all the time, play with each other and things. And these two are completely different personalities, and both find something in the other that they themselves believe that they lack. They just build a beautiful friendship through it. Eventually, they have to separate because Dante's parents have a new job opportunity. Aristotle stays where he is. They are only gone for, I believe, a year, and then they come back together and they are reunited. This time though, there are deeper feelings involved and the friendship turns into a little bit more. I have mixed emotions on this because mostly it's the writing for me. It's so simple and so like surface level for some things. But then there are hints of something deeper, something with substance, and I'm just like, yes, absolutely, but we never capitalize on it. It's just one singular quote and then nothing. And I get it, okay? It's following the point of view of children, so like obviously there are going to be things that are going to be repetitive, maybe even a little bit redundant, and there are some things that you're kind of just like, that's not it, but okay, like you're getting there. There are certain steps that you're getting to the actual solution, but you know what, you're a child, we can forgive you. But at the same time, it's kind of just like, for the writing style, pick a feature. Please, I beg, because you can go deeper with it. And the thing of it is, it's like we were getting there. We were told certain characteristics and personalities about our two main characters, but we never saw them play out. Never! And it hurt my soul because I was like, you're there. Oh my goodness, you're bringing out that aspect of that personality. Great. And then we just immediately switch up and I'm like, that's fine. It's fine, but come back to it. We never came back to it. And maybe like that is the whole point. I don't know. There's a second book, so I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't speak too quickly. But also, you got one shot with the reader. You got one shot to make me want to get the second book. You got one shot in this, right? I mean, you get multiple shots because we can read and reread and come back to it and give it a second chance, or even just buy the second book hoping for that second chance. But the product at the end of the day is this. I don't particularly care for the writing style so much because it was teasing at certain elements and things that would have like rounded out the story. Honestly, I'm not even mad. The dialogue, keep as is. That is their personality. There is like quick wit, back and forth type of thing. But then there's also just like the your mom type of humor and personality. And that's fine because they're kids. Capitalize on that. Show that they're kids through their dialogue, but then in their thought processes and ideologies, clearly there is a maturity there born of harder things in life that happen to them and them having to understand life a little quicker, and the jadedness and the hurt and the anger and the struggle and the bitterness a little quicker than most kids. And they have a little bit more depth to that situation and a little bit more understanding because guess what? They lived it. So capitalize. Capitalize, please. That's all we're asking. That's all I'm asking, okay? But it was really good. That's the thing. It was just so good. Mixed emotions right there. Anyways, Cheesecake. A book you would recommend to anyone. I could say The Tea Dragon Society again because I did say everyone and their brother should read it, but Circe by Madeline Miller. I do recommend this book because we're following along a goddess, a minor goddess, whose story isn't really fleshed out. If you're into myths of any kind, let alone if you're specifically into Greek myth, I think you'll just really enjoy this book. I really do, because you get older characters and you get a spin on these characters in a way that modernizes the thinking and ideology, and it just goes so in depth with it. And the funny thing is, it goes in depth based on the characters. We're following along a minor goddess who, since birth, was taught your worth is in your beauty. Your worth is in your talent and your ability. Your worth is in getting people to bow down to you. And that wasn't even from male gods, although that was the case. Honestly, though, a lot of female goddesses believe this too. Your worth is in your beauty, in your position, or in your raw natural talent. And they didn't think she had any raw natural talent capabilities. They later learned that that was false. But from her perspective, she created her own ideology that truly was just so fascinating. The conversations that are brought about are very poignant, are very insightful, are very well thought through, are very interesting because they take it from the perspective of Cersei as she's learning, as she's growing, as she's maturing, as she is being, honestly, warped and jaded into something different, and then just like going through a bunch of, sorry about my hand, I'm trying to like picture everything that happens, but going through all of these different life situations, she has a humanity and compassion that these other gods will never have. And so we are hearing about her worldview and her perspective based on the other's worldview and perspective. But you gotta understand, the writer was so brilliant because it's coming not from the author's words as like a all-encompassing narrator, it's coming from Cersei. So Cersei is a minor goddess in Greek myth, and Greek myth was a religion for Greek life at the time. And their religion was their worldview. All religions are worldviews, let's be very clear. To go against the grain of that worldview and that religion and that perspective. And I highly recommend it to anyone just because it's good writing, 1, entertaining story, 2, and 3, it has that conversation in there, and it's so brilliantly done as a writing style and technique, and just, dang, Madeline Miller knows how to write in this book. And I get it, okay? Song of Achilles was interesting. It has its flaws for sure, but in this, I truly believe she just like took it to a whole other level that I think is underrated and underappreciated for certain elements. Like, I know it's like one of those top TikTok books, right? I don't know if it's one of the top TikTok books for the reasons that it should be, though. And I think that element of this book is highly underrated in terms of like elements of this book that make it the best of the books, and has earned its place on like the top books of Book Talk and the top books of Bookstagram and the top books of YouTube. I do think it deserves a place up there. Coffee Cake, a book you started but never finished. I feel like that's shade to coffee cakes. I actually like coffee cakes. I lost the book cover, but With Fire on High by Elizabeth Acevedo. Carrot Cake, a book with great writing. I had to do The Last Apothecary, and this is by Sarah Penner. I had to. The Last Apothecary is following the story of 3 women, 2 in the past, 1 in the present, who is learning about the story of the women in the past. So good. Highly recommend. Tiramisu, a book that left you wanting more. This is gonna be no surprise to y'all. Evermore, The Trials of Morgan Crow by Jessica Townsend. I literally, the day I finished this book, even before I finished this book, let me be very clear, I was looking for book 2. I had it in my hands, but due to the way that it looked for the price that it was, I was just kind of like, maybe I will try my luck at Amazon and hopefully shipping won't ruin my book. But yes, this also, by the way, spoiler alert, one of my top faves of all time. Cupcakes, a series with 4+ books. All right, y'all, Harry Potter. Are we surprised? Fruitcake, a book that wasn't what you anticipated. A Deadly Education by Naomi Novik. I don't know, man. Like, it's so hard because, like, it was a good book in concept, and on paper, I should have loved it. I should have. I didn't. I'm so sorry. I didn't like it. I'm so sorry. I just, you know, it was so just like word salad-y. I heard that there's a second book. I almost want to read it just to see if all of that word salad was worth it. Something tells me it's not, just because a lot of the word salad was repetitive stuff. It was like repeating everything that was already said and then adding more. So already within the description, we already had a paragraph, right? Or a page. Let's just call it what it was. We had a page of stuff that was being thrown at us, and you're just like, whoa. And then suddenly we're being thrown into a scene with just like dialogue and action and everything, and you're like, oh, finally I get a glimpse. And then it gets taken away with another freaking long page which basically repeats the same thing, and her saying, like I said, this does da 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 da. Great, you already said that. You don't have to say, like I said, and then da 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 da, and then add another page of what you're gonna do because of it. Just, if you need to reference something so bad or to remind your audience so bad, either one, I'm sorry, but you didn't do a good enough job to just like have them keep it in mind, or two, let them go back and read it if it's that important, because there are times, guaranteed, there are times where us as readers, we miss something that's important. It's a detail that was in there for a purpose, and then we go back and then we're like, oh, so that was mentioned before. Okay. Sometimes it's us that misses it. Sometimes it's the writer that doesn't explain it clearly. But all of the time, you don't need to repeat it like word for word, verbatim almost. But it was funny because it was like repeated with the same length but different words. And then the action behind that, creating a separate page, and then the action scene where they're literally just talking about it is like so overkill. It's so overkill. I'm so sorry. I'm not trying to trash on this book. I'm not. Just, but like overkill, man. I cannot. That was the Cake Flavor book tag. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me and for taking the time out of your day to do so. Thank you for being the best bookish bestie that ever was, is, or ever will be. Thank you guys so much for watching. I will leave my Instagram and my TikTok linked down below. I will also leave my vlogging channel, and that's Instagram that is linked with it, just in case you guys want to see more of my daily life than just books. And thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!